Hey, how's it going, YouTube? Lawler here, as always. Thought we'd do something a little bit different this time around for the World Championship and talk more storylines, narratives, teams, and expectations, kind of the things that I feel about them and how I think they'll perform. I think in the current state of Rocket League, particularly in international competition, there is a lot of teams that are capable of going and winning the whole thing, but there are favorites. This is narratives that I've talked about a lot in my previous videos. Even in my predictions, I talked about how, hey, I had to leave it down to a coin flip. Do I think Vitality is going to win? No, but there is a chance for them to win. And I think there are certain teams that are more likely to go and do it based upon history as well as how they've looked so far this season. While other ones are like, you know what, you give us a glimmer of hope, but you haven't been able to like push forward in that conversation. So because of that, we decided to do a tier list with all 20 teams going to the World Championship. Favorites to win. These are going to be your like top two, like these are your shoo-ins. These are the teams that you have full expectations that should go and do the thing. Unfortunately, for the images that we downloaded from Liquipedia, some of them do have the full team name, so it makes it a little bit awkward. Also, we did have Drops, Raise Bull, and those guys on a different one, but literally as we started recording this video, they just announced MIBR, made in Brazil, has signed the guys. So the ex-Corinthians teams have officially been signed. Shift rumors are no longer rumors. They are true. So super happy that they made it happen before the World Championship. We're just going to go in order based on where we think people can place. That'll also make it a little bit more difficult for me. And I'm going to have to try to think a little bit harder. I'll try to edit and splice out as much as the pauses as I can. That being said, we're starting with Furia. My concerns with Furia is they have not really performed well internationally in the past. That being said, World Championships, they do tend to show up. I think EWC, the last chance we did get to see them, they did have a much tougher group than what we saw their counterpart in Team Secret. That being said, I have not seen the same level of tact and aggression out of Furia as of late. And normally when you put them in a top 6, I actually have them probably as a gatekeeper. I can see them making top 8, but I don't know if they're going to surpass past that. I could see them somewhere in that category. Usually the good but not there yet, I don't think summarizes who they are. But I think they are a better gatekeeper team. They are a team that if you play them, you know they are going to fight. They're going to be difficult to get through. But can they actually pursue and make it through? I not once in Furia's history have ever seen them make top 4 and then push past that. Ever. So while I want to say, yeah, they could make a run. Yeah, they could do. They've never done it. Ever. So to me, they epitomize the gatekeeper team. To get through that, to fight against, I don't want them. I don't want anything to do with them. I don't want to play them in a quarterfinal. They're annoying to play. And I'm trying to more so do these tier lists as like, it's going to be difficult because normally I would say, hey, they're top 8 capable, but I'm trying to do a little bit more conversation. We're probably going to have to adjust these as these go on. If I'm a top 4, top 6 team, I should be beating them historically, but I also know they can take us to 7 and punch us in the mouth. Next, Foot Esports. Normally, I would say this, but unfortunately for everybody else and their narrative, Foot actually isn't that bad. They have been very competitive in all of their matches, whether you love or hate them. They generally tend to put up a pretty stellar fight against all the teams that are below them, and even go toe-to-toe against some of the teams above them. The unfortunate narrative of them and the reason why so many people dislike them is due to the way that they handle their presence publicly, and that is going to continue to be what overshadows any efforts they put forth outside of the fact that you took a full import team into a minor region and are basically taking a spot, and then you have this entitlement that is paired with it. No matter what you feel about them, they are competitive. I think they've been playing pretty well. Do I think they're going to make it into top 8s? No, but I do think they will play and beat some of the teams that I'll have listed below them in the future. Outside of that, I do have Gen G below Furia. We'll see if we slot others. I think Gen G, my issue is they've shown that they have moments and that they can be competitive, but internationally, they have not actually impressed me. I think they're a good team. I was pretty high on them going into EWC, but unfortunately for them, they have faltered against teams they should not be. A team with that caliber of talent and stuff. I mean, Magic Bear and Cheese are really, really good. Justin, I think, fits that team very nicely. But Genji just has not been able to put it together. They've had a lot of time to practice. They boot camped, I think, earlier than any other North American team. They've been out there for a while. I think they got there like last Sunday while everybody else is flying in like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday type stuff. I would like to hope 2 coaches, great minds in the game, a team that is built into a system and everything else. Genji can go and do some stuff. That being said, I have not seen them compete at a top 8 level. I see them continuously make it part of that conversation where they get into the 9-12 matches and then they lose. So you pair them against some of these other teams and I expect them to falter. I expect them to lose. Ninjas in Pajamas, we have not seen internationally before. I think Oski on LAN is one of the best offensive players out of Europe. I think he continues to show up. Redosin on LAN is usually a little bit better. And then Nas is unproven. We have not seen Nas other than the woes and the struggles in the online era. They're, to me, an unknown quantity. And I can't put them above some of these other teams. So right now, I'm going to put them there. Would I say they're better than the teams below them? Yes, they should perform to that level. But play-ins is quite a good test for NIP. I think NIP out of the gate should win their series. They're going to beat TSM, who, spoiler alert, is probably one of the worst teams at the major. Although we have seen TSM play upset before. And then they go up against Shopify or Virtus Pro. Both winnable matches. Matches that I would consider them the favorite in. I don't know how things are going to go. Also, people bring up Nas last year when he subbed for G2. You can put me on a team with Daniel in Beast Mode, and I will also look good. Doesn't mean much. Saying this with the most love. I used to coach Nas at one point on Super Oli. Love Nas as a player. But he definitely has a I need to prove myself type tournament. It is no different than, obviously you guys know I'm a huge Green Bay Packers fan. Jordan Love is in his 3rd season. He was riddled with injuries last year. The year before that, he had a rough start. The end, he played like an MVP. If he does not perform up to the level of expectation of that $55 million contract, there's going to be some questions. The same thing can be said about Nas. Do I think Nas is a $55 million caliber quarterback? No. But I do think he has had this narrative around him that he is like one of the next up. He is a very, very talented player. But can he do it when it matters most? That's what the unknown is. If he stops playing hero ball, if he trusts his teams and the rotations and their situation, the nice thing is they finally got over that hurdle. Their entire history has been we make semifinal, we make quarterfinals, we get out of Swiss, and then we falter. Can you beat the top 6 teams? You took down Mates finally. You were able to punch through. You took down BDS, a good-looking BDS. Can you do it on LAN? You've got 2 warm-up matches. Immediately right next to them, though, is Shopify Rebellion, and I don't know what to make of Shopify, because I do like the situation that they had going. I think, and you can even ask Reddles, their plans, they did not play well. Like, Rebellion did not look good. Everybody else just looked really, really bad. Nobody played well in LCQs. It was sloppy. It was ugly. People were nervous. There was so much pressure. I say that as a team that competed in it. That being said, I do think that Wavy as an addition is the best option they could have got. There's a calming presence, a level-headed approach to Wavy. Wavy, I think, is going to take a step in the right direction in his play. He talked about how he can finally make an impact on the field outside of just playing. Normally, and I can say this as someone who tried out Wavy at one point, he just kind of, he does what you tell him. You say, hey man, I need you to go here. Hey, I've got, visuals behind you. Go challenge, go do this, go do that. And he does it, right? But he seems like he's having a more active approach in the way that he's communicating, the way that he's seeing the game. So I'm very excited actually for what this could mean for the team, but still unproven. If you're asking me in a head-to-head who wins, which is what is likely going to happen, I assume these 2 teams will play, I would go NIP. You guys know EU better than NA, but we will see. Both have 2 very disruptive players who don't like to go past the midfield line on defense. What does that mean? I'm going to take Oski and Nas over Wavy and 2-piece. Actually, that's a really good duos. That'd be fun duos online. Anyway, that's what I've got so far. But I think all these teams are going to be a tough one to get through. Historically, I would actually probably do this. I would say NIP could be better than Genji. That's what I've got. All right. Space Station is going to be the first one to move up. They're good, but they're not there yet. I think EWC, despite all the hiccups and all the nonsense with Vitality, we do get to see them face off in the first round. I can't freaking wait. I absolutely am so excited to watch Space Station and that Vitality match. And if there's tech pauses, I swear to God, I'm going to lose it. I think my favorite thing about Space Station is they are just getting started. I think this is a team that potentially has had their moment in the sense of understanding we know we're good, we know we're confident, we just have to hype each other up and get to that moment. And those are words from their coach. I think Space Station on EWC, it was such an important event for them to finally figure out what's going on land, what the heck is happening. And I'm very, very excited to see how they progress moving forward. Gophers makes an impact. If he can keep those demos going, we obviously know Scribbles and Reveal are both very talented, but can they do it when it matters most? That's always going to be the question with any of these teams. But I do think Space Station, while they're good, are going to continue to falter to the veteran presence. That being said, they could very well make a run. They could shock everybody. There is a lot of time between these. It is problematic with how much space is between what we last saw and now, as well as the seriousness that's put into Worlds, how often these guys are scrimming. They're probably playing like, I don't know, maybe 5 hours of scrims a day. Like, it's a grind. So Space Station I think is good, but do I see them winning it? Probably not. Team Falcons, probably the favorites or one of the favorites to win. I'm not surprised by anybody who would be like, yep, that makes perfect sense. I think the narrative around Falcons, they're super consistent. They're super talented. They always find themselves nowadays in the top 4. When they are losing, it's going to game 7. Over the last 3 months, they've looked pretty dang solid, albeit in a very biased tournament. Team Falcons is a good team. I had some criticisms of them because online they were definitely looking complacent, but then they went on to win the major. So again, when it comes time to compete, guys lock in. We'll give it to them. Up next, Team Secret. I think another team that's good, but not there yet. I actually probably put them above Space Station for now. Team Secret's been impressive. I do like the way they've performed. If anything, I would probably put them here. I don't think they can go and win the whole thing. Ooh, do I actually put Team Secret lower? I do. Team Secret's a tough one. They've had some good results. I think the group was favorable for them. Do I see them making top 6 again? Probably not. It really depends on the matchup. But I do think NIP would beat Secret. Is that disrespecting Secret too much? No, I'm going to go with what I believe. I think NIP is the better team. Actually, NIP has hurt me too much this season. Secret, you're going to move up, but I do think Furia would still beat you in a head-to-head and is better overall against strength of competition. I think Secret has had some favorable ones. I think Genji they were able to beat. I forget who they played in Raleigh. That was such an upset. I think it was Mates. I think they beat Mates in Raleigh, if I remember correctly. Let me look. It was. They beat Mates and then they lost to Dig. Okay. Yeah, I think that's fair. I'll go with that. TSM is on vacation. As much as I love the TSM guys, even at EWC, like the responses they're giving to interviews and stuff, it just feels like these guys have accepted that they're the worst team and that's just the reality of what it is. They're there, they're going to go 0-2 and then they're going to get eliminated. I don't know what's going on with TSM. I don't know why the mentality is what it is. Like, you guys have a lot to play for. OCE is plenty capable of going and winning matches, but whatever it is needs a mentality switch. I've talked about this in previous videos as well. Like, OCE just needs to wake up. Like, I don't know what's going on in that region. I understand they're isolated and removed from stuff, but between boot camps and international competition, 2-3 times a year, you're not seeing improvement. I think everybody else is getting better and they're just staying the same. So something's got to give. Unfortunately for TSM, I think they are one of the worst teams that is going to be in attendance. Up next, Twisted Minds. I'm going to go with good, but not there yet, and a little bit above Space Station. I think Twisted Minds had a pretty rough EWC, actually. But I do know they are fully capable of making proper runs. I just don't know if they can beat the top tier. Raleigh, they lost in 7 to NRG. And then they lost to Space Station in EWC. And people may see this and go, that's weird. I think people have off days. And I do think that Twisted Minds can definitely be a lot better. I think these two are pretty close, in my opinion, of where they're at the current moment. I just give the nod to Twisted because they've done better longer, while Space Station has had one head-to-head beat over them recently. I just don't know what I'm going to get out of Space Station against other international competition. Twisted Minds, I kind of know what I'm going to get. So I'm going to go with Twisted Minds a little bit higher. Virtus Pro, I think, is probably also on vacation. I think they've actually looked worse as of late. I do not think they've been playing well. That could be due to all the travel. I mean, Sosa in particular had Raleigh, then Serbia for EWC, went to Saudi, then went back to Canada, is back to Serbia, then now goes to France. The dude's been traveling nonstop. I don't know if he's had time to take proper rest or what the heck is going on. And Virtus Pro in particular, while they have shown that they can be competitive and previously were, I think, better than Foot. I do think Foot is better than them right now, based on what I've been seeing. I have a tough issue with Virtus Pro on where they've been performing as of late. I have a hard time being confident in them. Someone really needs to step on that team, whether it be Catalysm or otherwise. Up next, Wildcard. Wildcard, I do think, is better than Foot, but I also have seen a very one-dimensional Wildcard lately, so I have concerns. Torres and those guys are fully capable of winning and making top 8, and I believe that. I've seen it from them before. I just don't know if they believe it, which is problematic. Wildcard, I would like to see, despite being fast, aggressive, and as quick to the ball as possible, I wish they would also be purposeful with their touches. Every time I watch them, it just feels like we're just trying to get to it as quickly as possible and hit it hard. Where it goes, who cares? Is it a good touch? Who cares? Does it matter? Who cares? We're just trying to make sure we beat you to the ball, and that's it. So they apply pressure, but they also overcommit. They also put themselves out of position. They boost starve themselves. They do a lot of goofy Rocket League. So I would like to see a Wildcard perform better. To me, between these two, give me a coin toss, man. Goes to 5. It could go either way. Next, we've got Dignitas, our first in, could make a run. I think Dig has proven that while, yes, they are not perfect, they are consistent. They have been, over the last multiple few events, performing at a high level. Sure, they didn't perform the greatest. I think Jack probably had one of the worst performances he's had in a long time. Again, people are human. People have off days. He admitted to that in his interview as well. But I feel like Dig has found their form. I think they understand what they want to play like, what they're trying to accomplish. They've proven that they can make proper runs on LAN. That being said, I do think they concede to the top dogs. Even when they played Falcons in particular, they were playing catch up. But Dig is good. They could make a run. If they have a good day, you never know. So I do think that's a proper spot for them. And right behind them, I actually have GK, because we saw it just a bit ago. I do think GK is fully capable of going and making a run. I think you should put some respect on the name. I don't think you can put them as a underdog anymore. I don't think they can be a gatekeeper. I don't think they can be a wild card type team. They are a proper, solid team. My conversation about them has always been it is up to Oli. I think Archie is going to continue to perform. I think Joyo on LAN continues to do what he does. But Oli has been hit and miss. When Oli is impactful on the field, the rest of the team is better. It allows Archie to move up on offense and can be threatening. When Archie's playing the way he wants to, it's quick, it's aggressive. He reads challenges like nobody's business. His defense is great. Like, Archie still has it in him. So I think GK can definitely play upset. To me, they are the epitome of a team I do not want to play. And I've said that when there were Oxygen. I've said that for a very long time. GK is a team that I want to avoid at all costs in a single elimination match. I do not want them because I don't know what I'm going to get, and I know it's going to be a fight. So that being said, do I see them 9 out of 10 times beating a KC or a Falcons or a NRG or whatever? Probably not, but do I have them going at close and making you ask for it? Yeah, I do. Up next, KC, I do think is the best team in the world currently. I think they are the favorites to win the entire event. I think when they play their game, they are the best. I think they've got some of the best players in the world, if not the best player in the world in Drawley. K-Corp is them. They are the best team in the world, in my opinion, and I think they are the favorites to win. I would not be surprised if we see a K-Corp Falcons final. And who knows what quarterfinals are going to look like? Who knows what semifinals are going to look like? Because that will determine everything. The final playoff bracket, with having an extra life in uppers, I assume these 4 teams will be facing each other. If this was to play out the way that I see it, When you get into a semifinal, it'll be K Corp, GK, Falcons, Dig. That's incredible. K Corp should win that, puts them as a favorite. That now puts them in an uppers. Again, things change. So that's currently the way that I have things going. But yeah, it's going to come down to that top 6 and who has the extra life. Makes a big difference. As for NRG, I also think they could make a run. I think NRG, while I have been critical of them lately, I do think they are still playing aggressively. They are still challenging well. That being said, something's got to give for North America. North America has not performed well as a whole, and the only one that has been NRG. Two things about NRG. Number one, no matter what the situation, you got to avoid vitality in your single elimination bracket. If NRG can find a way to avoid vitality, I think they can most definitely make top 4. But if they run into them into a top 6 or a top 8 match, it's over. Vitality, for whatever reason, beats NRG and has for a very, very long time. That is going to continue to be the case, I feel. I think playstyle-wise, they just have them figured out. That being said, NRG against the rest of the spread of competition, competitive. I think they're one of the few teams that actually handles K Corp well. So much, in fact, that I'm going to do this. I think NRG is fully capable of being one of the few teams that can go toe-to-toe against K Corp, as they have proven it. They almost got reverse swept and were able to hold on. So I think NRG is one of those teams that you cannot count out purely on a talent basis. And when the guys are feeling it, yeah, we've seen what they can do. I think NRG is a team that should deserve respect. But I have not seen them get the win when it matters. Top 4 has been their peak. That's not good. So I know they can make a run. I know they're good enough to make a run. But are they a favorite to win? Not in my eyes anymore, which is not a good look for NA. Up next, Team Rock. I think you can put them somewhere in here, probably. Rock is really, really talented. A lot of mechanics, a lot of talent, but against structure or teams with a playstyle, they actually fall apart. So I could see some of these being shifted around. I would like to see Rock up against like a Virtus Pro against a TSM. If you do not know the Rock roster, 3 very young, talented players. It is Twiz, Abdullah, and Ghazi. It was previously the Dawn team, Dr. Ops, known, or Ops and Nush. But Twiz, Abdullah, and Ghazi have been around the space for a while. They've always been kind of like a team that's just shy of like a Falcons or a Sandrock or a Rule 1 type situation. Twiz and Abdullah, I'm actually a big fan of. If you guys remember Vampire, or however you say his name, in that kind of conversation, Abdullah in particular had a really, really good performance at the play-ins. I think he did really, really well. But basically, the way that they perform is they make top 6s, and depending on who they come in against, it is either they're losing to Falcons or they're losing to the team that goes to the grand finals. But they have been historically a top 4 team every single time. A couple times they falter outside of that, but usually they're top 4. So I think they're a proper team. I think Wildcard should be able to beat them, but their playstyle to me just reminds of like, hey, we're going to be pretty chaotic, pretty aggressive. We're going to counterattack, and then they're a counterattack heavy team, and they position really well. While what was it? Alcadzia was like pure mechanics. We're going to try to hit you with a double flip reset and go full field Diaz, now Kenzo, and try to make an outplay. So I would like to assume if you can pressure them and stuff, I could see Rock beating Wildcard, because Wildcard's going to just full send, and they're going to be like, okay, we win your challenge, and now we get past you. So should be interesting. As for Ultimates, I think they're at the top of good, but not there yet. Ultimates in the first major did make a second place run, but gonna assume here Ultimates is probably going to be making a roster change. I don't think they're going to stick. I assume we will see changes to them and Space Station, everything else, especially if First Killer and Kofir keep playing that much together. But I do think Ultimates is probably going to see a roster change. Would not be surprised. And because of that, mentality-wise, things probably aren't in the great place. Do I think they're competitive? Sure. Do I think they're putting in the work and the effort to be a top-tier team? No. I don't see much out of Ultimates. I know talent-wise they can go and get something done, but I do not see them making it into a top 4 into top 2 again. I just don't see it. Good team. Good team. Put up a fight. If they're feeling it, if they lock in, sure, they can play upset. They can do some things. But do I think that they're going to go and do otherworldly things? Or I don't know, man. I don't know. Up next, Vitality. I'm pretty high on, as you guys know. I think you can mix and match these quite a bit. I think you can reposition these however you want. But I do think Vitality could go and make a run. 2 reasons. One, Monkey Moon. He's done it. The last 2 World Championships. They don't look great. Things aren't amazing. And then when it comes push to shove time, he goes and wins the whole dang thing. That being said, this is a team that as much people want to dog on them, as much as people want to give them criticism, as much as people want to talk about how good or bad they've looked, top 4 EWC, they went to Game 7 against Falcons. In their match previously, they then they went to Game 7 against GK as well. They went to the Grand Finals. And then in their match against that, they beat Energy, which obviously historically they always beat Energy. So you're telling me they went through Energy, GK, Falcons. They beat Energy. Dig lost to GK, and they beat GK, or they lost to GK in 7. GK just had a great run, right? If you go back and look at how they've performed even throughout this year, top 4 every single time. At the major, they did lose to Furia in the top 6 round, and it also went to Game 7 OT. We then look at how they've performed historically throughout their tournaments. As much as people say they're not that great, they make mistakes, they falter. They're either going to Game 7 and making it close, or they're top 4. That's their bare minimum. I don't know how people continue to be like, hey, Vitality's not that great. They're a dang good team. It's just our expectations of them are so high. They should be legendary with Zen and Monkey Moon on the same team. But it's like, they have literally been, like Brea said in chat, 1 goal off of top 4 every single event this year. It is the epitome of consistency. But yet people want me to put them here. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So I do think Vitality has not had the peaks. They have not had the, we're in the grand finals, we're doing the thing, outside of when they lost to KC in Open 4 and in Open 1. They have lost to K Corp both times they've played against them for a grand final. But they're still part of the conversation. They still could make a run. And in case you guys haven't forgot, if there's a time for Monkey Moon to go and make a run and win, it's been the World Championship. If I'm a betting person, do I think they win the whole thing? No. Even though my predictions, it was a coin flip. There's a Reddit thread about how I'm so high on Vitality. I think people are just too high on expectations and don't know how to be realistic about how competitive the space is. But Vitality's up there. Last, but certainly not least, is MIBR. This is the ex-Corinthians team. Raiseball Brad drops. I don't know what to expect out of these guys. I do think they've performed pretty decent. I think they're the clear number 3-4 team in SAM. I put them in the you did your best area. I would say they're better than Rock and Wildcard. I don't know if they beat Foot or not. South America 3 has never performed too well, except for when I do think it was actually Secret and NIP in the first time we went to Dickie's Arena in 21-22, where we had top 8s compete as wildcard situations. But I think they can go head-to-head against Wildcard. Wildcard should beat them, but I've also seen Wildcard do worse things. So I don't know who ends up where, but I think this is a fair bid. I don't know where to put these guys with Foot anymore. As a once overlook, that's fine with me. These, I think you could rearrange. You could maybe do this. Somewhere in this argument, I would not be surprised if any of these make top 6. Ultimates may have an upset win. I do think they are the better team over Twisted, although I think Twisted beat them last time. Space Station still has to prove it to me. Furia, you could maybe move up or down, but I don't know on that one. Some of these other ones, I gotta see it again. You literally beat them. You're unsure for me. I think this is okay. I do think you can make some adjustments. I do think there's some things that can move up or down, but my ultimate opinion of tier lists is whatever tier you're in, you are competitive against the people above you. You should beat the people below you. That's kind of how I view it. I think that's what we're going to go with. So that is what I have. That is what I'm going to stick to. Hopefully this gave some insight on expectations I have for teams going into the World Championship. But as always, if you guys do have additional questions, comments, concerns, I would love to hear you guys' opinions. This is more so talking about how I feel about teams going to the World Championship and kind of what I'm looking out for and what my expectations are. But I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. Let me know down below. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys feel going into the World Championship. We are less than a week away, so it should be coming here soon. Either way, if you guys enjoy the content, like, subscribe, notifications, hit me up down below in the socials, join the Discord. You guys know what to do. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.